Story 1. What should I do? Okay, I need to ask a question. I am reaching out on a throwaway because my WS is on Reddit. 2. This post will be huge. If this gets huge, I may have to crash it. No kids, BTW. Starting off, my WS and I were married in early 2021. We enjoyed a very happy first year of marriage as she finished her nursing degree, and I worked to pay the bills. She graduated and got a night weekend job at a hospital. At first, everything went well until a coworker reached out and asked for her SC. She gave him her information, and the guy immediately asked her very sexual questions, including if we would grant a hall pass. She showed me these messages and asked him not to talk about these kinds of things with her, which he agreed. I asked her to cut this guy out of her life, and she would not. We met in the middle, and she promised me she would be open with her messages and not delete them. A few weeks go by, and this guy starts sending her memes daily, and their conversations are an everyday occurrence, but I try to maintain my word. This all comes to a head when a month later she and I go on our anniversary trip. I will admit I was busy with work and relaxing because her new schedule gave me some alone time I had not had in years, so I did not plan as well as I should. The first night there, we had a good time until we were walking home from dinner, and she asked me what I thought about hall passes. I knew right away that this was a red flag, and I was visibly upset and shut down the line of conversation right away. The next day, she was short with me and wanted to stay in the room all night, so I went and got a drink by myself while she spent the whole night on her phone. We drove home the next day, and when we got back, I was suspicious, so I checked her phone and realized she had deleted all the messages with this guy. I was obviously angry, but she told me it was an overreaction and that she was allowed her privacy. This led to months of fighting where she was accusing me of being controlling while she hid messages from me. I countered by getting more and more suspicious and trying to check her phone. She would catch me, and it would lead to more fights. She would text this guy on all of our dates, all the time. There are lots of fights these months where she accuses me of being controlling. Fast forward a month and a half, I finally had a mental breakdown and gave my wife an ultimatum. If she did not cut this guy out of her life, I would stop giving my all for this relationship. I went up to my grandfather's funeral and she went on a trip so we could cool off. She blocks him. We come back and have a good 2 weeks until she makes another male friend that she texts all the time. Obviously, I have not healed from the first one, so this starts the fights all over again. This goes on until July, in which we went on a family vacation, and she was awful to my family and me. I have had enough, so I make a couples therapy appointment in July. We go every week, in which she tells the therapist that the issues in this relationship are that I am controlling, and I try to monitor her 24/7. I agree to never look at her phone, and she agrees to be more open with me. This doesn't work, and I spend most nights at work worrying about what she is doing. I send her Reddit posts of people who are in the same situation, and it just makes her lash out at me and accuse me of starting fights. Things did not get better for months until the therapist asked her to stop talking to the men outside the relationship, and she said she would pick them over me. I have a breakdown. She begins to feel bad for me and offers to take me on dates. We slowly start to heal. She convinces me to agree to a plastic surgery for her. Mid-October, things are starting to feel natural again, and she is still messaging the second guy but offers to only do it on an alternate chat so I can see it. This is going well until my friend finds out his wife is cheating. This reignited my old anxieties. After a date of her texting another guy all night, I get worried and make her look me in the eyes and ask her if she cheated on me. She angrily says no and storms off into another room. This sends me into overdrive, and I check her Google history and find questions about STDs. I now have discovered something that cannot be unseen. So, I started to dig through her Google location history until I found her visiting a house in the middle of the night in June and July. 4 times. I call my parents and cry for hours. I drive to the house to make sure it's real, and it is. It's the first guy's house. I plan on never going home, but my stupid brain gets the best of me, and I go to confront her. The confrontation was long, but it ended with her telling me the truth. She made a secret SC. She sent him explicit for a month, and then they hooked up. I am devastated. I cry for hours and hours. Days. I yell at her for hours while she apologizes. She offers to do everything right. She carves my name in her chest in desperation, and I sleep with her. The next day, the wound is like fire in my chest. I angrily make jabs at her all day until I eventually ask her to go get a hotel. She and I spend 2 days apart until I make a couples therapy appointment where we agree to work on our issues. She moves back in, and things don't get better. We fight constantly. I am angry, so I make little jabs at her. She accuses me of saw the night I found out, and it scares me to death. In this time, I start asking friends and family for advice, and she accuses me of trying to ruin her reputation by slandering her. My friends and family have all been supportive on reconciliation, and I share that with her. I stopped sharing with the negative ones. We fight constantly, so I dropped my confidant count down to 3. I ask her for 4 things to reconcile. 1. No texting other men. 2. Find a new job. 3. Hold me when I am hurting. 4. There is no plastic surgery. She does one for 2 weeks, but she complains how good of a friend guy number 2 is the same time. I tell her to do what she wants. She starts texting him again. She refuses to do number 2 because she has a high-paying job and doesn't want to lose it in case we split. She does number 3 for 2 weeks until she gets angry at me for waking her up one day. 4. She takes to the therapist, who agrees with her that I am being petty because she won't get the $10K she paid for it back. I relent on all 4. We go down to get her surgery, but I am starting to plan on leaving the marriage because she has not done anything asked to reconcile. We have an alright trip, but one of the people I confided in texts me and says, "Use your brain, not your other organ," and she accuses me of cheating. This makes a huge fight. She admits to sending picture while I was at my grandfather's funeral. I message my confidant. She gets her surgery and goes through my phone to see me complaining about her and her surgery as I am hurt by this revelation. It makes the week go pretty poorly. By the end, we start to get better. This is where things start to get petty. I ask for a threesome with her to get even. She agrees, and we both make accounts to talk to people. I don't use her picture in it. Her family has a medical emergency, and we both rush up to help. We have a good bonding experience and get her family the help they need. In the end, I message people on the app while up there. Bad timing, I know. Her still confides in her, and she has a meltdown. She screams at me, telling me she really needed me there and I was chasing peace. I deny that as we agreed to this. I deleted the app, and we drove home the day before Thanksgiving while she demeaned me, telling me that I was a bad lover. Her AP was a better person. I don't know self-cleanliness. I play too many video games and ignore her, and my engagement was terrible. This pushes me to the edge, but I love her. We get home, and the whole night, she takes everything she owns and crams it into one room. She tells me she is 95% sure she wants a divorce. She tells me the only way she will give me another chance is if I text my friends and family and tell them what a possum I do. It is demeaning. She then calls her friends and family and tells them all the awful SHT about me but leaves out the affair. She talks to them in front of me and tells them I am garbage. I try to get her to stay. She goes to stay at a hotel again and says she is going to get her own apartment. She wants an uncontested divorce. My friends and family know I don't talk about myself like that, and they are furious. They told me to divorce her. All the hope they had for my relationship is gone. Before she moves out, I take her keys as the house is my premarital asset, and I don't want her coming back randomly to yell at me. I am broken. This week, she calls me every night and tells me that she thinks that we can make it work. But I need major changes. I call a lawyer and start to get the ball rolling. I was demeaned and hurt so badly, so I get all the information to the lawyer. My wife calls me back and asks to come home. I say I want to split. She calls her friends and family to help her get her stuff. She comes over the next night and asks for another chance. I say no. She then goes on FB and changes her status to single. She comes back again to pack and asks for another chance. I say I'll consider it if she changes her status back, stops talking to guys, and wears her ring. She does none of these, so I go back on the divorce route. We spend a couple of weeks getting the paperwork. She starts being very apologetic. I offer her another chance, same stipulations as before. She does none of them and makes posts to roast me on Twitter and Reddit. So, I file. Now, the last 30 days, she has started sending me love letters and telling me she can change. I break NC to see her because of this, and she claims she can be better. We meet up, and she tells me she is talking to a guy on Reddit and sending him selfies. I decided I couldn't do it. I tell her I can't, and she leaves destroyed. She continues to message me and tells me she is going on multiple dates with men. I get angry and tell her to not message me. She shows up and tells me the dates are a lie. She says I gave up too easy. We could have gotten a better therapist. She even says she would date me after divorce if that was the only way. This is where I am now, a week before the filing goes through. I care about her, and she wants to do anything to get back to me. I am doubting myself. I am worried I rushed into this. I am worried. What should I do? Bonus. I have read the Ditch a Cheater book. I have read Not Just Friends. I have read Life After Infidelity. TLDR, I am getting divorced due to infidelity. A week before it goes through, I am getting cold feet. Should I try again? Reader comment. It sounds like she didn't really love you the way you deserved. She just doesn't want to lose the security you provide. Hopefully you'll gain some clarity with time and space. The regret will happen either way. I regret ever choosing to be with my WW in the first place. Most days, I honestly just wish she would have left me for her AP to live happily ever after. Then I wouldn't have to wonder about everything. Original poster. That is exactly what sketches me out. Every person who leaves their spouse tells me how much they hate them or that their spouse left them high and dry. Mine still wants to be here, and it makes me worry. Reader comment. I think you have come here to see if the most reconciliation-friendly sub on this platform thinks you're making a mistake. Reconciliation takes two. There aren't two people here who are committed reconciliation. Maybe in the future she could be. Actions mean more than words. She has had a lot of words, but from your account I don't see a single action meant to make you feel safe, to build a track record of honesty or transparency, or even any actions to show that she understands your pain. To give another chance, there has to be somewhere to stand. Is there anything to stand on here, or will the sands continue to shift below your feet? Perhaps divorce will be the consequence that makes her hit bottom and actually commit to changing who she is for herself. Because in the end, change needs to be for us, not for anyone else. Original poster. Yeah, I picked this up to see if the positives would overwhelm the negatives, but it seems like my first choice was the right one. Thank you for sharing your words. Story 2. Tell me they're not happy and she sucks. My ex of 3 years cheated on me with her coworker. They work in a restaurant and she's a Suze and he's a line cook or junior Suze. I think it started mid-October, but she never admitted it. She spent the night at his house mid-November, just went radio silent, and played it off like she fell asleep on his couch Elmo. After that I was confronting her about potential past infidelities, as well as this current one, and signed us up for counseling. The night before our therapy appointment I caught them holding hands leaving a bar and making out, confronted them and stormed off, and she decided to go home with him and F him. She claimed that was their first kiss and that nothing physical happened before, which is obviously idiotic. I kicked her out and she went and lived with him until she found an apartment out of a suitcase in his 2BR with a roommate. She went to his family Christmas 3 hours away. They're still together and she told me at one point they have indescribable chemistry. I was on day 12 of NC when she texted me Monday asking if I had some of her stuff and stupidly replied. Now I'm back to feeling SHTTY as that stupid text exchange reignited the trauma bond. She lost 2 of her best friends who sided with me and hasn't really talked to her mom, who's furious with her because she loves me. We moved to this city in June, so the only friends she has here are current and former coworkers and her AP. She only has like 1 or 2 other friends otherwise. In October we went to Vegas and she got drunk and was asking why we weren't married and how badly she wanted to marry me. Then this just makes no sense. Just looking for some kind responses about how much she sucks and how she can't possibly be that happy with AP. And how it won't last Elmo. They can't possibly be that happy, right? And a relationship with a 23-year-old Elmo really, who's also a coworker. Reader comment. Not only won't it last, but it's going to F up the dynamics of her brigade. How's the rest of the line going to feel about this? Talk about screwing up your authority. Original poster. I know at least before Christmas that she was still keeping it a secret, at least to one of her ex-coworker friends, because I saw a text after we broke up where she was going out and he asked if I was coming. And she just said no, that I can't Elmo. Wouldn't be surprised if she still is to everyone. I unfollowed her on Insta but asked a friend a while ago if she posts anything and she doesn't. She used to post all the time and now nothing lol. She would hang out with AP and this other line cook coworker after work. Wouldn't be surprised if he knows by now, but she was keeping it a secret from him while she was doing it. Reader comment. If she thinks a 23-year-old line cook is going to be faithful to her, I have a bridge to sell her. Sometimes karma takes a while to work, but it always does. I just read a post from a man who left his pregnant wife for his 23-year-old coworker. Now less than a year later he's absolutely miserable and regretting it. You just focus on yourself. She's going to crash and burn. Block her and heal. Get therapy. Thank your lucky stars you don't have kids. Original poster. Lol, I made way more money than her too. When we moved here I got a super nice apartment a block from her work so she could walk there. Bought nice furniture and a king-size memory foam bed. Paid for vacations and gifts. Took her on a 2-week vacation to Europe in August and to Vegas in October to see her favorite bands at When We Were Young Fest, and paid for both. Paid most of the rent. And she's now living in a room in a 2BR with 50% higher rent out of her pocket, with a 30-minute commute from work, dating a broke line cook 9 years younger than her. Really mind-boggling how they just don't put any thought at all into what they're giving up when they're cheating. Reader comment. Sorry Opus, it's always the coworker. She's probably been a serial cheater like you may have questioned her about. You should go to NC and don't look back. If she should contact you for any reason, tell your ex to thank AP for taking out the trash. You know they're in an affair fog until the age difference, maturity, cheating, and the whole loyalty thing wears them down. Then she'll cheat on him with a waiter or bartender or random guy off the street. I'm sure AP is her little fawn doing her bidding, not knowing what he's in for with a cheater. Original poster. She cheated on me 5 times. 3 physically, 1 sexting, and another sending photos to a guy and FaceTiming with him. I only knew about 2 of these until recently. No idea why I took her back after I caught her the first time. Story 3. D-Day was 4 days ago. Confused and lost. TL divided by doctor. Wife and I have been together for 11 years this January, since high school, and married for 6 months. She cheated again, this time messaging with pictures, and then physically after confronted. Our dissolution has been amicable so far, but I don't know where to go after this. We were happy for many years, high school sweethearts who moved on to and got through college together, moved states, and got an apartment. However, after we got engaged, COVID hit, and her mental state took a turn for the worse. Wind up finding out that she had been sexting another man. Just messages on Discord as far as I could tell, no pictures or anything. But I gave her another chance and things got so much better over the next year and a half. We ended up committing to the relationship and got married. Both our parents shelling out a lot of money for the wedding, especially for her own parents' poor financial situation. Things were great. It was the best day of my life as far as I knew. However, the vows we read together in that hotel room turned out to be nothing but lies. 6 months later, we're working through a dissolution. After having suspicions for some time, I got into a public Discord server she frequented and noticed how she talked with another guy on there. In the morning I confronted her, and it turns out she started private messaging him 3 months after the marriage, pretending to be excited for our future, choosing kid names with me. All while this was going on, she even bragged about our relationship and how much I do for her in that server throughout all this. Turned out to be pictures this time as well, and I decided I'd leave for our home state to think about things, saying we'd call it a break. She left so I could pack and went right to this man's house, not knowing who he really was and totally unwilling to even hold out hope we could work through things. Found out through a picture he posted in the server of them in bed together, bragging about his conquest. Her decision was made, so I told her it was over. My sister drove 3 hours to help me get out of there with my things, and I've been at my parents' ever since, trying to survive while working with her on a dissolution. In hindsight, she wasn't the person I fell in love with for a long time, and I just wasn't being honest with myself. None of her explanations made sense, and she ultimately admitted she was just broken, and I needed to get away because she'll just hurt me again. I honestly don't think she knows why she did it. She has a history of mental illness and needs help, and I still love and worry about her, but it can't be my problem anymore. I know she thinks she loves me, but as I told her, love is shown in your actions, and hers were those of a user. She even said her plans were to hold out hope our petty problems would work themselves out and she could go back to being loyal. At the very least, there's no kids involved, and she recognizes her fault and is being amicable when it comes to the dissolution so far, giving me more than I'm frankly entitled to. Right now, I'm trying to just power through the legal SHT and get her out of my life so I can move on. I've got a lot of support on my side unlike her, but communicating every day isn't easy, and I haven't even begun to think of a life after her. I mean, we made so many plans, and up until a couple days ago that was going to be the rest of my life. Just feel totally used and embarrassed for everyone else who was taken advantage by her. But it's been helping to mourn the person she used to be rather than try to understand the motivations of an ill cheater. She's been my only partner though, and I don't know the first thing about dating, so the future terrifies me. But I'm really trying to keep myself together and maybe use this as an opportunity to reinvent myself. I just don't know toward what, as that future we had was my only motivation for so long. Anyway, I'd appreciate some advice here, especially if y'all have been through it. Reader comment. Found out through a picture he posted in the server of them in bed together, bragging about his conquest. He sounds like a real gem. Does she realize she's being used as a sex toy? She does realize that he'll probably post picture with her, and that whatever goes onto the internet is forever, right? If you think she needs help, you should tell her parents and family about everything and let them deal with her. Original poster. She apparently told her mom about everything. Don't think she has the courage to tell her dad. I texted her mom to let them know I appreciated them and asked them to look out for her. All I can really do. Reader comment. In 5 years or so when she's done riding the carousel and she tries to reconnect, do not reestablish contact. But, what if she's, well, it's just don't. Original poster. I have no intention to. She's wasted enough of my time and my family's. Not sure what my mom would do if she saw her again anyway. Law. Reader comment. Unless you are concerned about her father being violent or you don't get along with him at all, You should probably tell him if she won't. Original poster. I've never been close with him. Her mom supposedly spoke to him, but they're in a loveless marriage, so I'm betting he doesn't know the full truth. I don't know if it's my place at this point.